Hello and welcome to Weirdos in the Wild with our co-host, AJ Oxley, paranormal investigator with Beyond This Life Paranormal and multi-generational paranormal enthusiast, and Lynn Tincher, Beyond This Life Paranormal investigator, Reiki master, published author, and near-death experiencer. Travel with them, a couple of everyday weirdos on a wild ride to all things paranormal and metaphysical.
Coming up on Weirdos in the Wild, Beyond This Life Paranormal discusses their investigations of Ohio State Reformatory, Fairfield County Infirmary, and a private residence. Listen closely to the discussion on the morgue at Fairfield County. There's 2 possible EVPs caught while we're recording this episode. Let us know what you think.
Hydra Publications is your one stop for the best in genre fiction. Secrets and Blood is the debut horror novel from Dewey Hensley. Evangeline Grace, the sheriff in a small town, eastern Kentucky coal mining county, longs to start a new life in another place. However, present and past evils conspire to jeopardize her plans and end the lives of those she loves, including her brother Sheldon, whom she promised to protect. Drugs, feuds, and her beliefs stand in the way of identifying the notorious Highlander in time to live her dream. However, menace reaches from Madison County's past.
Do you struggle with depression, ongoing medical issues, or have you experienced past trauma? If you have, please consider the help of energetic healing. At Dragonfly Pond Holistic Services, we utilize Karuna Reiki, crystals to align and heal chakra function, meditation, and sound healing to address these issues and help you in your healing process. To learn more about energetic healing and how to contact us, visit our website at dragonflypondenergy.com. For those who call in to schedule an appointment, mention this ad and receive $25 off your initial visit.
Hey everyone, welcome back to our latest episode of Weirdos in the Wild. I'm AJ.
And I'm Lynn.
Tonight we have 2 more members of our ghost hunting group, Beyond This Life, with us, Missy and Ghost Bait.
Also known as Haley.
Also known as Haley. Tonight, the girls have been doing some stuff without me. I know it's very sad.
Sorry, AJ.
Boo.
Very sad. But, on the other hand, just like all of you, I get to hear all about it first time today. I've intentionally not asked any questions and not let them tell me anything so we can do this together tonight. So we're going to talk about 3 different places they've been, and we're just going to talk about some of the experiences they had. As always, please remember, if you have an experience and you would like to share it with us, please reach out to us. You might be on our podcast. So we would ask you to go to weirdosinthewild.com, email us. We are also still gathering questions as we have a upcoming episode where we're going to do Q&A. We've got a lot of good questions. Y'all have stumped us a little bit too with a few of them. But all 4 of us, I think, are going to be on that one again so we can talk about our ghost hunting and what we do and how we do it. So first of all, let's talk about the first place y'all went, which was
Ohio State Reformatory.
That's right. This is not the first time that Missy's been there.
Or Haley.
Or Haley.
Yeah.
And I know that they both had experiences there, not just this time they were there, but in the past. So, Missy, why don't you just tell us about it, just for the folks that do not know what... They're going to know it when you tell them about it, but tell them if they don't know what it is.
All right. So the best thing about Ohio State Reformatory, or Penitentiary, is that it is the place where Shawshank was filmed. So you can go there, and there's a museum of different things that were in the movie, the tunnel, some of Red's outfit. Brooks's room is in there. So it's really cool to go in there and see that, as well as the prison.
Yeah, it has a lot of artifacts from where the prison was actually there too, and electric chair and all kinds of things that are there. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, I just remember seeing the floor when we walked into the the little lobby area, and I'm like, I remember seeing this in the movie.
And it's
a lot.
original to the building,
Yeah,
too, which is
so-
great. You don't normally see that in old buildings like that anymore.
No, and it's an amazing building. It's like a castle on the outside. Of course, the inside looks a little more like a prison, like it should. Where the cells are, you're like six stories tall, and you're way up, walking on metal that you can see down through over six. Yeah. I remember closing my eyes, going, "Don't look down, don't look down, don't look down." As I'm crossing the path to get down along the front of the cells.
Well, we took that
Beautiful
picture.
building.
Yeah, we took that picture of the three of us sitting there, or standing there by it. You could see all the floors and just how open and tall that place is with the three of us. We look like little ants in that place.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. But when we were there, Parapsychon was going on. So we were there with thousands, maybe, of other people. It was a pretty incredible event. Got to meet a lot of stars in the paranormal field. But we did have a couple of experiences while we were there during Parapsychon. In the middle of all those people, as well as Haley and Missy had several experiences when they were there investigating before.
Right. I remember walking through, I think we were going through the solitary confinement area, and I'm walking through and I'm talking to you, Lynn, and I felt like somebody came and just thumped me right on the forehead. And I turned around and I was like, did I hit something? Did somebody do it? But it was full on, like somebody just hit me right in the center of my eye. Like,
yeah.
Crazy.
And about that time is when I felt something go between me and her, because I was right behind Haley.
Yeah.
And something just brushed right in front of me. So I guess it smacked you on the head and went on.
Yeah. It's like, what are you doing here? You're not supposed to be in solitary confinement, or you really need to go into one of those rooms. Like,
let me get the straight jacket.
Right. You belong here, crazy redhead.
It was Andy.
Oh.
So I had a personal experience in that same area, the solitaire. It was last year. I had gone with John, who is the founder of Beyond This Life, and we went to the Paracon at that time, and we were walking through, and I literally felt that there was something behind me, and John had turned around and looked, and he's like, there's nothing there. And so when we got out of that area, I could feel something on my back. And I was like, John, I think I have an attachment. It's on my back. So we had to go to a little area off from, a lot of people there, because it's a Paracon. And we walked down a little hall, and he was able to get whatever it was attached to my back. But I knew exactly where it was, on the right side of my shoulder blade. And I was like, okay, this is where it's at. And once, he was able to get it off, and we continued on our day. But yeah, there's definitely lots of stuff there.
Yeah, I can remember us walking through during our investigation and walking towards the end of one of the cell blocks, and we walk past and we hear something fall from being thrown or falling right in front of us, and it's this little bitty stone, and it almost hit, I think, me and John. And we went back and it was sitting right there on the floor, and like, no way that just got thrown at us, but it sure did. We can't explain that at all.
Yeah. And even for those that don't know, there's also a big museum of the prison itself, not just the Shawshank part. They have different areas that have different displays. And in one of the rooms there, they had prison doors, I think 3 of them kind of standing together or something, as a display of what the prison doors were. And you'd step up into the room, there's like 3 or 4 steps up there. When we got close to the room, this man and his daughter were coming out of it, and he was saying, man, there's something in there. There's something in there. My daughter was talking about this cold spot, and something made me deathly sick and dizzy, and he said, we had to get out of there. Well, of course, us being who we are, we ran right up in there, and something hit me like the second we got in the room and made me very, very dizzy. I didn't feel sick or anything, but I felt very, very dizzy. And I'm like, okay, there was something to that.
Right.
Because I experienced the same thing that he did. And the second I stepped out of the room, that was gone. There's stuff that even goes on during that.
During active times of the prison when people are there. It's not just when nobody's there. I mean,
right.
If the place is active haunted and, paranormal activity is there, it's not going to matter if there's people there or not. If it's residual, it's going to still be there. If it's intelligent, it's still going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't go away because there's thousands of people there. It's still there.
Yeah. And it amazed me that when we went up to the top floor, what was up there? It was didn't it used to be a church?
Church, yeah.
So it's a big open spot with a lot of seating that you're in the top of this building that has no heat or air, and it was cold.
Very cold.
And that was just pretty incredible because that should have been like the hottest part of the building. Even though it was cool that day, it was the coldest part of the building, I think.
It's still one of my favorite parts of the building from when we investigated, and I sang, and they said because it's smack dab in the middle of the cell blocks. They said when you sang that you could hear down both cell blocks just Amazing Grace going through, and everybody's like, where's that music coming from? And it's coming from the chapel because the acoustics are so great in there because of how tall it is.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. I loved it. It's my favorite part of the whole building.
But it's really cool because you really feel like you're walking into a castle.
Yeah,
and it has turrets
and hidden coves in
yeah.
there. You never know what's going to happen.
Haley, being ghost bait that she is, went into one of the turrets and
I did.
Pete scared some guy when she came out. It was a fun trip. It was a fun day. We had a lot of fun going up and back, singing at the top of our lungs in the car.
Missing GPS marks.
Yeah. And, I kind of passed up a couple of exits I should have gotten off of. But we got there.
We did get there.
We didn't have too much time.
Yeah.
It's not a ghost hunt unless you get lost on the way, is it?
Yeah, definitely.
We have a good time. It's part of the reason why we, I think, enjoy hunting together. It's because we all get along so well and enjoy being together.
Yeah.
So did you have anything else happen at the reformatory?
I don't think so.
Not when I went. I
Yeah.
don't think.
The night that we went, it wasn't really active that night. But I mean, we had some experiences, but they weren't crazy off the wall things.
John was in the.
Well, I mean, yeah, solitary confinement.
He was in a cell and was actually channeling someone. He would say some stuff, and then when we went to another part of the building, Haley went under the
Estes method, yeah,
and ended up channeling the same guy.
Yeah, and we were getting that he did some pretty horrendous crime, and he was pretty much hanging out in solitary confinement for his life. Pretty much is what we were getting from that.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah,
the Estes method is such a cool thing.
They've also when you go there, they also give you a tour before you start to investigate. And they were telling us how they, people have seen like black shadow, like almost like an animal looking kind of shadow. So they're not sure if it's a dog or if it's, something else that's crawling on all fours.
Dog man.
or walking through solitary and being attacked by bats.
That will happen.
That happens a lot to me.
We need to rename you Bat Baby.
Yeah, Bat Baby instead. That's the scariest thing that's ever happened to me is the bats. Let's see. Ohio State, Ross, 101, Fairfield County Infirmary. Where else can we go? We just need to have a little thing on me so you guys can see how many times I get attacked by bats.
Yeah. If that's the worst thing that ever happens, we're doing good.
I'm fine with it as long as they don't touch me. We're fine. No guano.
No, you don't. No. All right. So then you went and investigated at, what was next? The
Fairfield County
Infirmary. Right, the infirmary. Haley, why don't you tell us about this place first off? Kind of, for the folks that do not know much about it. Me being one.
So it's in Lancaster, Ohio, and it was used kind of as like a mental infirmary, and that people could just bring their wives there and say that, oh, they're crazy, I'm just going to drop them off and sign them in for no reason. People who were mentally ill were there by like medical standards. They were there. It was used quite often. A lot of the things that go on there is they had a fire there at one point, and they say that they get some activity from a lady who died in a fire there. There was a men's side and a women's side, and one side's particularly more active than the other, and they said that's usually the women's side is more active. It used to be a funeral parlor, so there is a funeral parlor in there. There's a morgue in there. There was a physician's office there. There's actually some school buses there that were used in the American Horror Story, and I think that's maybe the third season with the circus that was used. Yep. So that there is kind of like Waverly, there is a mass grave there. It's unmarked. So there's quite a bit of history going on there.
Yeah, we have some pictures of the school buses if you're interested. They're creepy as they can be.
Yes.
We put those up on the Facebook page for Weirdos in the Wild. And you can move those over to Beyond This Life as well, I think.
Yeah. Which we, there might be some from where we investigated it before, too.
Yeah.
We investigated it last year at some point, too.
I saw some of the pictures. It looked like it was huge. Like the place was huge. Lots of buildings. The grounds looked like there was a lot of ground there to cover as well. I saw the pictures of those buses.
They are creepy.
Looked creepy. I think I would have spent some time in the buses to see what I could have found. But
see, I wanted to get in the bathtub.
Was there a bathtub?
There was. There's clawfoot bathtubs in there, and I wanted to lay in it. The only reason I didn't, it was dirty as all get out.
Yeah.
But I was like, I want to be in this tub.
I want to take that tub home.
I do. It's wonderful.
There's also staircases that lead nowhere with walls.
Absolutely nowhere. Yes.
And like, what'd they wall off there, you know?
Yeah, well, why? You would walk up the stairs and like, oh, I'm going to go left. Okay, that's blocked. I guess I'm going right. You know, it's
like the Winchester Mansion thing?
Kind of. You would feel like if you weren't having some kind of mental illness, if you're walking through there, you would definitely feel like you did. Because you're like, I know there was a staircase there. Why is there a wall there? Why?
Huh. That's weird, too.
I mean, we were there from, 5 in the afternoon till 2 in the morning. And we didn't investigate a quarter of the place.
Not even a quarter. Mm-mm.
So were you guys on the guy's side or the girl's side or both?
Kind of both.
Both.
Yeah.
So obviously they kept the people that were there as patients separated.
Yeah.
Men and women.
Yes.
And they had a window between them so they could see in.
Oh, the bathroom.
In the
so
bathroom.
was it the same? It was in the same building?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I was kind of in my head. I had 2 different buildings.
No.
Two different hallways.
It's 2 different hallways.
So one hallway's men, the other hallway's the women.
Right. A little courtyard thing like in between.
Right, but the
So they could wait for each
bathrooms.
other.
Yeah, the bathrooms though, they go through and there's a window in the middle that meets the window to the other one. So you have a men's bathroom and a women's bathroom, but the windows are looking at each other so you can see into the bathrooms.
Yeah, that's not strange.
It was a little
No.
different.
Well, you're taking care of your business, Wade.
Hey. Oh, goodness.
At least you couldn't see directly into the toilet,
Right.
but you could see into the bathroom.
Yeah.
When broad daylight though, it's like right when we got there, we'd set up all of our equipment in this one little room. We made base camp we were investigating with another team as well, so there was quite a few of us there. But we had everything set up in one little area, and me being me wants to investigate like immediately the second I walk through the door. So I take off and I go down this hall all by myself.
For all you, this is normal for Lynn. As soon as she gets in a place, she's just like, let's go.
Go. Yeah.
And it's because I know what she's going to tell you because she's had an experience. Because when I am with her, this is when it happens all the time. We walk in and she's like, let's go. And then we have the experience.
Right off the bat, almost, within the first minute or two.
Yep.
So I was walking down, it was on the main floor, and I just went out in the hall and walked down the hall, and I'd take 2 steps and I'd hear 2 steps behind me. Then I would take 2 more steps and I'd hear 2 steps behind me, all the way down the hall. And I'd turn around, of course you can't, there's nothing there.
Right.
But I could feel it and I heard it go all the way down. I was completely by myself. And I turned around and came back, and it didn't follow me back, but it followed me all the way down the hall. And I put some pictures of that hallway up as well. It's a long, wide hallway. It's one with all the mirrors. For some reason, they set mirrors down the length of the hallway. So right off the bat, we had that.
Yeah, and then like going back to that, later on, I went through with you guys downstairs through the funeral parlor, and I kept telling you, I feel like there's somebody stopping behind us, and I didn't know that you even had that experience until after this. I said, I feel like somebody's walking behind us, and they're stopping when we stop. And I said, I almost feel like it's some lady from Victorian era, and she's in this long dress, and her dress is swishing from side to side, and when we stop, she stops. She doesn't mean us any harm. She's just curious to why we're here. She's just walking through with us. So we said that, and we go upstairs, and there is somebody who is a psychic medium there, and we're telling the experience, and he goes, you said Victorian lady in a long dress, right? Yeah, absolutely. That's what I got. He said, I picked that up 2 weeks ago when I was here. Mm-hmm. We've had multiple people claim that they have felt this lady here in the past month or so, and she has not been here until recently. So that was a new experience from the last time we went till now, but she does kind of like to follow you around. Mm-hmm. Just curious to what you're doing.
Didn't we get that something had been brought in recently?
I got that something had been brought in recently, and I felt that she came with whatever that object is, and she's just kind of roaming because she doesn't leave that foyer area downstairs. She doesn't go to the morgue area or the reception physician's office, anything. She just stays in that funeral parlor area, the foyer in the front room. That's where she stays.
So Lynn heard the footsteps. Did you hear footsteps with her or not?
I wasn't with her during the footsteps.
Okay, so when you heard her or when you felt her, did you hear anything?
No, I felt it on the spiritual side, I guess you would put that.
So you think they brought in a
side.
Yes. So they think that they brought some sort of object in, and she's attached to that object.
Yes. Yeah.
Did they tell you what it was, Missy?
They did not.
No.
They did not.
Yeah,
that'd be interesting to find out if it's right there, like in that morgue, that object's there and she's right there attached to it.
Right.
There was, I don't know how long it had been there, but there was a Victorian-looking wedding dress just outside the morgue.
Right. And they have a picture of a woman who was in that dress, in that particular dress there, but we're not quite sure if that's the lady that's doing that or not, but I do not remember that dress being there the last time we were there.
I was gonna say I will say that when we were there last year, there wasn't as much stuff in it as there is now.
Right.
So they continuously bring stuff in.
Depending on where they get it, it could bring something with it.
Yeah.
There was also a time that I'd gone into the bathroom, which was right at the foyer, and was washing my hands, and something came right up, was right in my left ear, said, Judy. Okay, who's Judy? So I walk out and talk to the other medium that was there, because I think he's there quite a lot, pretty much every weekend. And I asked him, I said, is there a Judy associated with this place? And he says, no, not that I know of. So that set me on a quest afterwards when we got done of trying to find out who Judy is. And I found out that the daughter and granddaughter of the two superintendent curators or whatever of the asylum, her name was Judy. And she used to hang out there all the time. She was a blonde, and she got to know all the residents, played with and all that. She pretty much grew up in the hallways. So I almost felt like maybe because I'm blonde, that whoever it was might have been asking if I was Judy.
Yeah.
Or at least saying, where is Judy? Or something. There was something like they missed Judy. So now I kind of want to get in touch with Judy and say, hey,
right,
maybe you want to visit because somebody there misses you.
Right, exactly.
But, I mean, it's plain as day in my ear, Judy.
There was also another name that came up, was Ruth.
Yeah.
And that was written on a wall someone had found.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was pretty recent. That was just earlier this week that somebody found that. Yeah, no, the last time we were there, when it was me, Melissa, and John, and a few other people, had just started learning how to do the Estes method. And didn't think I was pretty good at it, anything. So we're sitting in the funeral parlor. And Missy's going to have to kind of help me out with this, because when I do the Estes method and it gets real deep like this, I don't remember a lot of the things that are said. But from what they had told me was I was sitting there with the Estes method and I can't see, I can't hear what you're saying, nothing like that. I start saying that books window, and they start looking around the room and they find books on a windowsill. And it says, I wrote in it. So they're going through and they're like, which book? So they're sliding their fingers across the books. And I keep saying, no, not that one, not that one, that one. I wrote in it. And when they open up the book, this is live on POV's thing on TikTok too at the same time, which is great. They open up the book and sure enough, there is a handwritten letter in there that says Merry Christmas in a woman's handwriting. And they had some other experiences in there, but that was the most prominent piece of evidence I think I have ever seen in my life, because clearly something is able to interact with people. Mm-hmm. And going back to that same night, we had one of the investigators that were with us this past time kind of had a female spirit come through and interact through him. So that's kind of neat that I don't know if it's the same woman or not.
Yeah, and if you want to see those books, I actually, not knowing this, had taken a picture of them from outside.
Oh.
In the windowsill. So that's in all the pictures that I uploaded on the Weirdos site as well. You see the page side, not the spine side.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was a cool picture, so I took a picture of that.
Yeah, that was a really cool experience.
Yeah. And that funeral parlor, I think we went through it twice. The first time we went through it, I was fine. The second time we went through it, I got deathly sick.
Yeah, you started coughing and...
Yeah, I couldn't breathe. Felt like my chest was on fire. We
couldn't stay. We had to walk out.
I sat down, and Missy said, "You need to get out of here." And I said, "Yeah." So we got up and we got out of there. And the second I got out of there, I was fine.
Yeah.
So were you affected too, Missy?
No.
No?
I wasn't at that time, no.
Okay.
But after we left that area, we went back towards the morgue. And that's when Ghost Bait was going to go into the morgue area. Now, Lynn and I stayed out in the hallway only because leading into the morgue, the wood is very not safe.
I felt like I was going to fall through the floor.
It was really loose.
It's real loose, and we didn't want to walk in and anything happen. So we stayed back and let her, be able to jump in there. So as we're out in the hallway, we were out there for about 10, 15 minutes, and then it got to be a little like we felt like things were just coming up on us. Mm-hmm. And I was like, "You ready to go? Because I'm ready to go. Let's go upstairs." So we then went upstairs.
Yeah, it was getting very crowded.
It was very, just heavy.
Yeah.
Very heavy. You felt like there was just, almost just like everybody just started coming out towards us, wanting to see what we're doing. And
just leave me in the morgue. Yeah, that's nice.
You had the other guy in there.
I didn't have him with me.
You weren't alone. You had the other medium with you.
I did.
Since we don't have permission, we won't mention him. But
no. I guess, we always have funny things that happen, Bruce, me and him were sitting in the morgue. We had just finished our live for Beyond This Life. Turned off the lights. It's so dark in there. And I showed it on the live for how dark it was. We couldn't see each other. So we're just talking. All of a sudden we hear this god-awful noise. It feels like the walls are casing in on us. And we start screaming because we thought the walls were coming in on us. We start screaming because we're touching each other. And all it was somebody flushed the toilet. So just know some things aren't paranormal, but
yeah,
they sure scared me really bad.
And we're like on the other side of the building on a different floor, and we can hear them screaming.
Oh my gosh, we were scaring each other so much more because we were reaching for each other. We're like, somebody's touching me. Yeah, I'm in the room with you.
They were like, we felt like all these bats were coming in.
Oh, it was horrible.
It was hilarious. When you're putting yourself in a scary situation where you're a little nervous anyway,
anxiety's through the roof.
It doesn't take much to frighten you sometimes.
But in case you want to know, what does the morgue look like? Whatever you're imagining is what it looks like.
Yeah. And there was something oozing out of the bottom that I think we figured out it's
oil. But the most scary thing is there's a hacksaw in the morgue area just sitting there. So
I guess the table, the whole bit.
Yes.
The drains.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
So they figured out it was oil, but it did look like blood coming out.
It looked like blood. It was like red, like dried blood looking residue.
So there's another area that I didn't go to last year, but this year I did. On the second floor, at the very end of the men's wing, there is a jail cell. And so last year when Haley and John and I went, there was another team that was there, and they actually put on straitjackets.
Crazy.
And went in there by themselves with a straitjacket in this little area. I don't know.
That was the POV guys.
That was the POV guys. Yeah.
They're
so much braver.
Yeah. Follow them too. They're
Hi
amazing
guys, if
team.
you're listening.
We love you guys.
Yep, we do.
So this time I did go in there.
I saw that. The thing is, I saw the video. I saw it on their website. That's why I knew it was them.
Yeah, it was POV. Yeah.
So what happened though?
So I did go into this little area, the jail room, this time in the daylight, of course. So we walk in, and there's one wall just has this stuff coming down. It looks like blood coming down it. We don't know exactly what it is. But then there's also this table in the middle of the room where people, I guess, are leaving offerings, money,
Gifts,
just gifts of whatever
candy.
sorts.
Yeah.
Well, I happened to notice this one picture, and it was dated the day before we were there. And I was like, okay, that's just weird. Who leaves a picture of themselves, like a
Polaroid.
Yeah, Polaroid of themselves. Like, it's kind of creepy. So we said something to the medium that was with us because he was there the night before, and see if he knew who this person was. And he kind of remembered, but when they went back in that room to see that picture, it was moved.
Yeah, me and him, we saw it was on the opposite side of the table, and it was sitting in the center when we left. Nobody touched it because we don't touch offerings. That's not ours. We don't touch that. You know, we're not going to disturb it. But it was on the opposite side of the table, face down.
Face down.
So that was a little odd to me that there was an object moved. Now, we're not 100% sure that somebody didn't move it.
Yeah, because there were a few of us in there.
Right, but it did get moved, and the people we did ask said they did not touch anything in there.
Well, that is kind of odd. It's kind of odd that you take a picture of yourself and left it too. I'm not saying. Just
We don't know if they were offering themselves or it was just a reminder for, hey, we were here.
Right.
So, I don't know, but it was kind of an interesting thing. There was more than one picture, but that one really caught our eye because it was like laying in a seashell.
Yeah.
And I do have a picture of that when it was in the seashell.
We do have it where it was sitting there.
Mm-hmm. Haley and John and I we went into the toy room, which is on the second floor. And we were there pretty much when we first got there.
Yeah, we hadn't been there for
Now,
maybe 10 minutes.
When we had gone this time, we got there, it's in the middle of the winter, so it was cold. This place is not heated. So we're bundled up. But we got there, with it being in winter, it's dark real early. So there was no going through this building in the daylight. So we got there in the dark, and that's pretty much how our evening started. But we started in the toy room, and we actually got a lot of activity in that room. We were getting knocking noises and answering our questions with a knock.
I just remembered one of the other two different people that were with us. And I just remembered another experience too. We had quite a bit. But one of them saw their first full body apparition, and they saw two of them.
Oh, it was me. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have never seen a full-bodied apparition in my life before. Was with.
She gets to check that one off.
I
now.
do get to check this one off. I was sitting there with the other medium because we both kind of just felt like we needed to be together investigating. It's maybe his vibe, my vibe, we didn't know. So he takes me in this room and just asks me what I'm feeling. And we're sitting in there, and all of a sudden, like, my eyes just feel like, if you ever seen a laser grid, just seemed like my eyes went laser grid mode. Never had that happen. So I blinked to try to get it to go away, and when I finally opened my eyes back up, I jumped backwards because there was this full-bodied white apparition about the same size as him standing next to him. And I was like, man, this dude is right next to you. I see a full-bodied apparition. He's like, yeah, he's standing right here next to me, and has been talking about him standing there with him the whole time. And I fully saw this apparition. Same height as him, everything. And I have never seen it. I jumped fully back.
Yeah. We had one other person see him too for the first time in their lives, and she kept talking about it, and she just kept sitting there going, I can't believe this. My whole world has changed.
Right.
And
was it in a different place
I
or a
think
different apparition we're thinking?
This one would have been in room, I think, 316. I don't want to say what they call that room because we learned that the man in there does not like it. But if you've ever been to FCI, you kind of probably know what room I'm talking about. But yeah, he was very adamant that he didn't want to be called that name, and was very comfortable with the medium that was there. So that was pretty neat.
So you saw a man.
Oh, it was definitely a man. The height of it, the shape, the build, everything. It was definitely a man.
Do you want to explain it? What you saw?
I would put him at about 5'10", 5'11".
So very tall.
Very tall. Kind of a more muscular build at the top. And I couldn't see his face. It was just kind of like a white full body silhouette. But that is the first time, even with, they keep saying, I need to say it with my psychic abilities, to actually physically see somebody standing in front of me instead of just kind of having that thought. It's the first time I've ever seen somebody physically in front of me before. It's kind of neat.
It is life changing.
It is.
It is life changing.
Yeah, it is.
That's why I do this right now, because I saw it and that put me on the
Right.
what is this and why does this happen trail.
Yeah.
Right.
We did have another experience where all of us were investigating together. Haley was doing the Estes method, which is, she explained she's blindfolded and has headphones on that it's green noise, not white noise.
It is green noise.
To understand.
Green noise.
We're scanning radio stations, and the spirits can use the electronics to be able to communicate and put their voice through. So we're sitting there and we're doing that, and the other medium is going through some kind of an experience, he said, where he lost some time and channeled somebody who asked, why are you looking around the room? And he was looking around the room. And I remember at one point he caught me and stared at me it was really intense for several seconds. I mean, it's dark, but we had a little light because we had some equipment and stuff going that was putting out some light into the room. And all of a sudden his face changed. It just blurred out and kind of swirled around, and his face changed. And one of the other girls that was with us was taking pictures and took pictures of him. I think 5 or 6 pictures at that time. And his face was blurry and swirly in the pictures. So she captured what I had seen. That freaked me out, seeing his face change. So what I really think it was something probably in between me and him.
Right.
Because I don't think his face physically changed.
Yeah, so I guess a good way of saying this, we had 3 different ways of communication that could have happened. So you have your psychic medium, you have the spirit box, and you have me doing the Estes method, because what we did was we linked in to the spirit box and to the SB7. So I would have the Estes method going, and I would be saying what was coming through, and whatever I couldn't pick on would come out of the spirit box. So there's 3 different methods of communication there. So that's kind of neat that we have all
also
that
had the
happen.
flashlight.
Oh,
Yeah.
you guys had the
Oh,
flashlight
right.
too.
And the flashlight.
And the
had-
cat ball.
And the REM
and,
pods.
yes.
And the shadow.
So
The
maybe
REM
there's
pod-
more.
Yeah, the REM pods didn't go off in that room, but the flashlight and the cat balls did.
Yeah, there was one point when I saw a shadow come out of an adjacent room and go behind the other medium. And when that happened, all of a sudden the cat ball that was on the floor behind him went off. So, and he said at that same time is, ooh, I got really cold. So there was 3 things that happened together that made perfect sense. And poor Haley was under the Estes method.
For like an hour.
Yeah, we finally scared her to death trying to pull her out.
My head flew off.
We just kept on letting you go because we were getting so much activity.
Yeah.
I can always tell when you guys are getting some kind of responses, because I'm sitting there like, man, I've been under this thing for a while. That must be getting some good responses. Okay.
And she's sitting next to me. She's talking about how she was picking up things on the spirit box in the portal, doing 2 different things, which are all connected to one thing, which is what's crazy. But she's sitting next to me, so I could hear what's going on in the speakers because it's very loud. That's why she can't hear us. But I could hear from sitting next to her, and what was coming through there was different than what was in the portal.
Right.
And at times, Haley would say a word, and then it would come through the portal.
Yeah.
So she was ahead of it, which was crazy.
Yeah.
But that was a wild experience.
I'm glad it happened to you guys.
It happened to you too. You just didn't know.
I just didn't know it.
But when it was time to bring her out, I reached over and I touched her back and scared the crap out of her. She threw her hat off. And
Well, I'm used to
screamed.
AJ like doing a hard
Yeah.
tap or something. You
I
like little bitty fingers like.
I never know what to do because I've done it before and I've done this
Right.
and I know it does it. Scares the shit out of me every time.
Every
anybody touches
time.
me. So I try not to.
Right, I'm fine if
Yeah.
somebody hits me hard, but it was like a little tickle of somebody touching my back. It's like, oh, what is that?
So I was
Smack
trying to
her
reach
next
you.
time. Smack her.
She was just out of reach.
Hydra Publications is your one stop for the best in genre fiction. Secrets and Blood is the debut horror novel from Dewey Hensley. Evangeline Grace, the sheriff in a small town, eastern Kentucky coal mining county, longs to start a new life in another place. However, present and past evils conspire to jeopardize her plans and end the lives of those she loves, including her brother Sheldon, whom she promised to protect. Drugs, feuds, and her beliefs stand in the way of identifying the notorious Highlander in time to live her dream. However, menace reaches from Madison County's past.
Do you struggle with depression, ongoing medical issues, or have you experienced past trauma? If you have, please consider the help of energetic healing. At Dragonfly Pond Holistic Services, we utilize Karuna Reiki, crystals to align and heal chakra function, meditation, and sound healing to address these issues and help you in your healing process. To learn more about energetic healing and how to contact us, visit our website at dragonflypondenergy.com. For those who call in to schedule an appointment, mention this ad and receive $25 off your initial visit. Welcome back to Weirdos in the Wild. Before we return to our program, AJ and I would like to take a moment to remember my brother John Tincher, co-founder of Beyond This Life Paranormal, and Alan Oxley, AJ's father. Both passed away just before we recorded our first episode. Each and every episode going forward, from this one on, will be in remembrance of them. Thank you.
All right, we're back, and we appreciate our sponsors that help us keep this going. So the girls did one other investigation without me, but this one may turn into a long-term investigation for us, and we hope it does. We're not going to. It is a personal residence, so we cannot give you a whole lot of details about what and where, about where, but we can give you the what.
Well, we can't say it is in Kentucky.
It is in Kentucky.
It is in Kentucky.
And it is along the river, because that would have an effect.
A very big effect.
So yes, we have the water effect. If you know what that is. As they said, I was not there, and I have intentionally not heard about this on purpose. I want to know firsthand, or this is my firsthand knowledge of it, because we are going to do, like we said, a long term. We want to kind of get into this. I think the girls got some questions they want to throw at me since I wasn't there. So.
Well, we have a lot of questions.
All right.
So I guess we can start this by saying, as soon as we walked in, we brought out our equipment and we sat it on the mantle that was in the room, and the owners of the house come through and we walked outside with them. As soon as we walked outside, REM pod goes off. Not even 5 minutes after we set it up. And when we first arrived, me and Lynn both felt like there was a female presence in there. She saw this one on the bottom floor. I saw it up in the windows.
I felt it before I got out of the car.
Right before we even got out of the car.
Yeah.
So that was kind of neat. And on top of that, it was a full moon night.
Yeah.
So makes it even more active, you would assume. So we had some weird. I personally had some weird experiences there.
Yeah.
More so than them two, I think.
But we did have, when we set up the REM pod, I put a motion detector in there too.
The motion detector
The
went
motion
off
detector
too.
went off.
Yeah.
At the same time, the
Same
REM
time.
pod. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Do you guys want to talk about what you all thought first before we get into my stuff?
I want to give them a little bit of background on
There
the
you go.
house.
Yeah.
So this house, like we said, is on the river, and it was built in it's either 1852 or 1859 is when this house was built. It's pretty much the original house. There has been some add-ons to it, but the original house is still there in the same structure that it was when it was built.
Yeah. With these great big baseboards that are like a foot tall. I mean, these
The
old
ceilings are 12 feet,
fireplaces. Yeah.
tall. It's
Plaster.
Yeah.
it's gorgeous. From what I've been told, that it also was used as a hospital
During the Civil War.
during the Civil War. There was a doctor that lived there.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to give you a little bit of background on the house.
So it does have some history.
It does have some history. So I guess we had decided to do our live. We had hooked up our spirit box, and I did not feel comfortable doing the SDs, and that's something that's not common. So I said, we're just going to use the spirit box, whatever. We had the REM pods in there. We had our millimeter going at the same time. So we weren't getting a whole lot of action coming out through the spirit box, and it was just completely dead, which is weird. We normally get a couple words come through. I was struggling getting it to work.
We get some sounds, but nothing made any sense.
Yeah, nothing made any sense. I'm standing there inside the entryway, and I see what looks like a shadow staring out the window towards the back of the house. So I ask, are you standing in the window towards the back of the house? And I think we got a quick response of a yes at some point. I'm like, well, what are you staring at? And it says lake. Well, turns out there is a lake behind the house.
So it was as if a person was inside or outside? Inside looking outside.
Yes.
Okay.
Blocking out the full moon.
Okay.
Right. So that happened. So completely quiet again, not too much going on. So we decide we want to step outside to go get a look at the full moon because it was almost in peak at that time. Still on the live during this time, so you guys can go back and watch this. I step out of the threshold, they step out of the threshold. Spirit box goes chatty. Just constant chatter. We're listening to it. We're like, okay, well, let's go back inside. Completely dead again. So I step outside, and we get a response, and it says, witch? I said, jokingly on the live, I said, you calling me a witch because I have red hair? I don't remember what they said after that.
And she said, do you like my red hair?
Yeah.
And he, plain as day, I don't. A woman's
don't.
voice.
Clear.
Oh.
Yes.
So then I said, do you want me to step back outside? So I stepped back outside, and it just started chatting. It says, goodbye, demon.
It says, I heard demon.
It said, goodbye, demon.
Yeah.
So we're going through, and they're talking. It comes back through. I'm in the building again, and it goes, pocket rocks. And I said, what kind of rocks? Worry stones. I had 2 worry stones in my front right pocket. So whatever this is, particularly does not care for me. Apparently because I have red hair, I'm a witch, and had some worry stones. So we decided to pack it up and leave. Not so much, because of fear for me, but as a respect for them having me, not wanting me there, we decided to pack up and leave. So we can't really explain what happened with that. So I don't know if you have any insights or what you think about that.
So I guess a couple questions.
Okay.
So it was almost like that when you all walked out the door, it wanted you to come back.
It wanted Lynn and Melissa to come back, not me. Yeah.
For some reason. I mean, we had that happen in Tennessee at the jail, where when we would go away from the jail cell floors, everything would go crazy as if it wanted us to come back.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So I wonder if that's not the same situation where, obviously, I mean, your hair is not red either.
No,
It is not. So I don't want people to know. It's not like she's got bright red hair.
It's not
It's
Ronald
like-
McDonald hair.
It's like naturally red.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it was the
But you saw something on the first floor and you saw something on the second.
the second floor. So I'm
What
wondering.
did you see on the second?
When we were pulling in, it wasn't like I physically saw it. It was like in my your third eye is what you would call it. I saw a woman just standing out in the window, looking out the window. And at that time, I didn't realize that was a widow's. What do they call it? Widow's peak in a house.
Yes.
But that's where I saw her standing, and I did not know that was even up there until the homeowner brought us upstairs. And she said that she was particularly drawn to that one point when they bought the house.
Yeah, but
Did
it
y'all
was
spend
enough.
much time upstairs?
Did not.
No.
None at all.
What you saw looking out the window, looking at the lake,
It was a male.
it was a male.
It was a male.
Okay. So we know there's at least 2 different.
Yeah, and we were getting
entities
male and
there.
female voices
Oh.
on the portal.
So you
But
think
it
there
was
were
a
multiple
clear-
males or multiple females?
Maybe one of each.
One of each?
And I can't pinpoint of. I got the impression that it was different time periods.
Different time periods, okay.
Yeah.
And, the only reason why we really left is because, what it was saying was making Haley feel uncomfortable. And we felt like whatever was there probably didn't like witchcraft or, thought Haley was a witch or something. So we were like, out of respect, because, she felt that they were really uncomfortable with that we would leave.
Right.
And just so everybody knows, we are the very first team or anybody that has ever investigated that house.
So you're dealing with the unknown. So for something to be so intelligent enough to know that I have red hair, that I had rocks in my pocket, that's a whole new ball game to us. We're not used to having something so easily picked up on.
And, the fact that it just said a demon. And I said, I don't want to say what I just heard.
Right.
And Haley said, well, now you've got to. So I said, well, I heard it say a demon. And going back and listening to it, you can hear it plain as day say a demon.
A demon.
So we're like, I don't know if they're calling us a demon, or they are a demon, or there's a demon there. Right. So that was another thing that kind of had us a little uneasy. And we're like, okay, maybe we should just step away and come back with AJ, where we have a male presence, because that makes Haley feel better with the Estes method.
We're going back.
Well,
But let me ask you this real quick.
Okay.
Along that same line. So, y'all felt uncomfortable, but did you feel threatened?
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
Not at all. Which was kind of odd. I mean, you all know I love doing the Estes method, and I kept telling him, I'm not doing the Estes method tonight. It's not. And this is before any of this happened. So now for that to happen, I don't know if I had a friend on the other side, and I'm sure I did, that was making it to the point where this is not a safe environment for you to do this right now. Don't do it.
Right.
And I'm sure that John probably played a part in that, but that's kind of how it felt, that whatever it was going to block anything from happening that night.
And like Missy said, we're the first people that have been there. They need to know, number one, we respected the fact that they were uncomfortable and we left.
Right.
So that way, when we come back, hopefully we could start to build some level of trust with the spirits that are there.
Right.
And maybe get them to communicate more with us. And, Haley said she mentioned she was uncomfortable doing the Estes method without you, because you always stand next to her or behind her and help her feel more grounded and more secure in that. So it's like, okay, we just kind of dabbled in. They know that we were there with good intentions, and we just truly wanted to communicate, and that we were respectful. So now we, like I said, we feel like we can go back and start to build that relationship. Being the only team that gets to go there,
right,
is
exactly.
Yeah.
Let me ask you all this too, because I didn't know anything about this place. The only thing I knew was where it was located. I looked it up on Google Maps. I told Lynn this. I said something about that property. Just me looking at that property told me something there was not even maybe the house, but something around it.
I think you can have a lot of outside contamination that could be either messing with the equipment. Just you have all this going on, and you can manipulate equipment. It can make you feel uneasy. It can, there's no telling what is being pushed out from that power plant.
Yeah. So we went around with the EMF stuff and
we didn't pick up anything.
Yeah.
Right.
Because we thought, okay, if that's really high and we experience anything, then it could be the amount of EMF in the area that's making us feel that way. But there wasn't.
And there's and from what I understand, there was no power, no water, nothing like that.
Yeah, the power was off to the house. Okay. So nothing in there would interfere.
Right. I mean, we had phones dying. So we had no communication at that point. Once everything started dying, we were on our own.
So that's another thing then. So you had power drain from the equipment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I know the next time that we go, we're going to do an experiment. I personally am going to. We're going to take a box or something and put a random object in it. And if it's smart enough to know what's in my pocket, maybe it's smart enough to tell us what's in that box. Yeah. And if that's the case, we will know that we're dealing with an intelligent spirit at this point.
So did you get anything that would have clued you into maybe that male was the doctor or something of that nature? No.
Nothing.
No.
But we do know that the previous owners owner was a male, and he still has clothes hanging.
In that room
And-
that I saw.
Yeah, where she saw the guy.
Is that person passed?
Yes.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's a factor in it too, especially since I picked up there was different time areas. The female is definitely older than the male.
From an
Different,
older time
yes.
period.
From an older time
Okay,
period.
yeah.
I would
Yeah.
almost put her at one of the original owners of the house.
Yeah, I was thinking late 1800, early 1900.
Easily.
So, yeah. And probably very religious. We were picking up, both Haley and I felt like she was very religious.
Very
Which
religious.
might be why she didn't like Haley with the rocks in her pocket, the crystals. You know, I
Well.
was thinking of her as a witch.
Right.
You know?
Red hair, pale skin, only comes out at night,
Yeah.
The full moon. We were talking about, dancing naked in the
Yep,
moonlight.
naked in the moonlight.
Which we would not have done, but
On camera.
Yeah. We were having fun
Not
with
on
that.
the live, right?
Yeah.
Not on the live,
live.
at least.
That's a different live. Um,
I was going to say, catch us on our OnlyFans.
Give us some stars on Facebook.
I guess the other question I had was, you said there was a belief that there had been a Civil War hospital. Do you think that something could have been because of, obviously if there was bad things that have happened there and people have passed, and more than likely, you think it could have been tied to that?
I never got the sense of any negative energy in there at all.
No.
I mean, even with it coming through at some point, it was just, I never once felt threatened the whole time.
And the homeowner, is that what you were getting ready to say? But the homeowner that, I think it was her daughter or some friend or somebody, walked in the front door and felt a woman hug her.
It was the
Like,
homeowner.
It was
the
It was,
homeowner.
okay, I couldn't remember who she
Mhm.
said. But she said she felt a woman hug her.
Right.
Like it
which
was
is why
very
she
welcoming.
wanted to buy the house.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that when you're asking if we felt anything negative, I don't think it was so much negative that it was no one's ever done this before.
Right.
So like it's almost like they didn't know
It was
how
foreign.
to
Yeah.
Right.
handle
It was almost like, what are y'all doing here, kind of thing, huh?
yeah,
Right.
like, you
Yeah.
know, like
Right.
get out, like
So that's where I was having a conversation with one of our friends about this in the paranormal field, and they were saying that maybe since I saw the lady in the window and I do have my psychic medium abilities, and since I physically saw her and being one of the first few people, that she's probably like picking on me in particular because I was able to see her, and she's probably never been able to be seen by anybody before.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. And we had a little trouble with the equipment because nothing was happening with the equipment.
Mm-hmm.
And, I feel like if we did a better job of coming in and saying, hey, here's how this works. You got to come touch this, which we did do with the REM pod.
We did.
And so we did get that reaction on the REM pod when the owner came in. And I really feel like they love her.
Yes.
So they're familiar with her.
Right.
Mhm. And I do know when we were packing up to leave, we just kind of threw everything in the box and left pretty quick because we didn't want to hang around and be disrespectful. But when I was picking up and turning off the motion sensor in one room, the other one that I had in the room where we saw the shadow person went off.
Right.
So they didn't know it because, when I first picked up this one, it was making all the noise. But I had it turned off and that one was making noise. But they didn't know which one it was.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's the one in the other room. So I felt like something went through there.
Something definitely did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we felt, it was like touching my arm, like rubbing my hand.
Oh yeah,
Just
that
touching
happened to
my
me. It
arm.
felt like something was
Yeah.
touching. As soon as
That's
walked
when we
in.
first went in. It was like, hi,
Yeah.
It was it was real light. It was crazy. But we had that, and then we had the EMF. When we first went in, had the EMF, it's like, it's going crazy. It's going crazy. It's right here. I feel her, and it's going crazy. And then I realized it was my phone in my pocket.
Yeah. So, something that we're gonna try to start doing with the Beyond This Life thing is showing that we do debunk things.
Mhm.
I did do that on the live and showed where I was broadcasting on the live, turned the EMF detector on, held it away, it has a 0, brought it close to the phone, it lit up red right away. So that's something that we have to keep in mind a lot. And I know they probably get tired of me saying it. I'm like, your phones are setting it off. It's not evidence, it's your phone.
Right.
And I sound like John would had, but we are definitely going to debunk something if we can debunk it. Like the picture that I got at FCI, you know, it looked like 2 glowing eyes. And I was like, I didn't see anything reflective in there. But when I went back in there, there's an AC thing in there that was clearly reflective. So easy to debunk that if you can.
And it's the ones that you can't.
The ones that you
have
can't,
no
like a
explanation
full-bodied
for.
apparition in front of you that you can't see, you know?
Yeah.
Being able to tell me I had worry stones in my pocket. Cannot debunk that.
Yeah.
Yes, we have a great debunker on our team.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Who's
yes.
not with us tonight, but
She's been on vacation. Overseas.
she is definitely our debunker and a true scientist.
Yeah.
With her education,
She's got her degree in physics.
so she's a lot smarter than all. Well, at least me. I don't know.
Well, she's smarter than me.
She's
too.
smarter than me.
Yeah.
So Becca, we miss you, and you are our expert when it comes to that. So
Yeah, and we send her stuff, even if she's not with us.
Yeah.
Because she's getting ready to move away, which breaks my heart. But we'll send her stuff and say, hey, what do you think of this? And she'll say, oh, it's that. Or, or I don't know. She's been able to do that too.
Yeah.
I just don't know. So we're glad to have her on the team.
So, anything else happened before you all decided to head out that evening?
I don't think so.
Well, the road out.
No,
Yeah, road out was terrifying. We went out a different way than we went in, and we shouldn't have.
yeah.
Because middle of the night, full moon hanging over us, and you come over a hill, and you think the road is going to go over the hill in front of you, and no, it went that way. So it's throwing Haley around in the back seat, trying to.
Even though it was my idea because I'm familiar with the area, I'm like, oh, it's fine. Go up this way.
It wasn't.
Don't follow my
Don't
directions.
listen to Haley.
Don't do it.
But that was probably the most terrifying thing of the whole night. I think trying to get back out of there.
Right. With very little cell phone bars
Yeah,
because our phones were dying.
yeah. So it's like if we go off the road, we can't call for help.
Nope.
But we made it. My awesome driving skills, even though I miss exits every now and then.
We'll keep you.
Well, it sounded like it was, even though you're there a short time, it was very active.
Yeah.
You guys got some good evidence too. It sounds like.
I
So,
mean, we were only there for what, 2.5 hours?
About 3, I think. 7 to 10:30.
Yeah.
I hope we go back. I think you guys want to go back. I definitely want to go back. And it would be great if we could make this kind of a long-term thing, since we kind of have access to this. It's the only group, so.
Yeah. And they've said they would let us hunt anytime we want, and they're trying to find us other locations too. These people are fantastic people. So if you're listening to our podcast, we love you.
All right. Well, I hope you all have enjoyed tonight's episode. We've got a lot more stuff coming up, so it'll be Lynn and I, but also we're going to have Missy and Haley with us a lot going forward, as we've got definitely got some more stuff planned, some more locations we're going to hit, and we've got more to go, and hopefully a lot of exciting places and a lot of things we can tell you. So
We got a lot on our calendars.
that's right.
A little bit of a break in front of us, but then we got a lot on our calendars.
And hopefully we'll be able to share some of this with you and take you along for the ride. So, all right,
the plan.
Lynn,
All right.
take us home.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody, and keep it weird, y'all.
Thank you for joining us at Weirdos in the Wild. Please show us some love and support on our Patreon account at Weirdos in the Wild. Like us on all of our social media. And if you've had an experience you'd like to share with us, visit our site at weirdosinthewild.com. Until next time, keep it weird, y'all.
Hydra Publications is your one stop for the best in genre fiction. Secrets and Blood is the debut horror novel from Dewey Hensley. Evangeline Grace, the sheriff in a small town, eastern Kentucky coal mining county, longs to start a new life in another place. However, present and past evils conspire to jeopardize her plans and end the lives of those she loves, including her brother Sheldon, whom she promised to protect. Drugs, feuds, and her beliefs stand in the way of identifying the notorious Highlander in time to live her dream. However, menace reaches from Madison County's past.
Do you struggle with depression, ongoing medical issues, or have you experienced past trauma? If you have, please consider the help of energetic healing. At Dragonfly Pond Holistic Services, we utilize Karuna Reiki, crystals to align and heal chakra function, meditation, and sound healing to address these issues and help you in your healing process. To learn more about energetic healing and how to contact us, visit our website at dragonflypondenergy.com. For those who call in to schedule an appointment, mention this ad and receive $25 off your initial visit.